When you're evaluating a prospect, how do you start the relationship? Do you contact the coach first? Obviously, you're watching film, you're going to see it.
Sure.
Do you contact the coach first? Do you contact the player? And when you talk to the player, how do you start that relationship?
A lot of times, it's always the coach first, and then it is my. I always like to talk to the parent next.
Okay.
Because I think it's really important that the parent knows that we've got interest in their child. Yeah, and I never lose sight of the fact that this isn't a recruit, it's a child. And this is somebody's son. And I know that I would want somebody to ask me permission before they spoke to my children. And I think it always sets a really good precedent that when you kind of get mom and dad's blessing and you can introduce yourself. But I always start every recruitment with the strength or often the knowledge and the basis that they don't know anything about us. And I always start at the most ground and basic of levels. And I think the most important thing we can do is sell the University of Houston men's basketball program, not myself, not Kellen Sampson. There's nobody inside here that's bigger than what we've created.
So the vision.
And kind of this is the program. And this is what we've done. And this is how we've gone about becoming what we've become. And I think we introduced the program before we do anything else. Because if they're not interested in being a part of us, it's a do not pass go and they'll collect $200 anyway. Nobody comes here because of the individual accolade, attention, success, blase, blase. That's never why they're choosing us. And so they've got to become one of us if they're going to make it. And selling that first and foremost is the first thing we do.
Talking to the parent before you go to the player, that seems abnormal, right? Not abnormal that you're doing
I can see
but
maybe
a lot of other coaches may not do that.
I perhaps, I think that, I know that when I was a kid, when I was a prospect and I was a recruit, I wasn't going to do anything. Help mom and dad, right? And so it seems like, when you're a young person, the most influential person in your life is mom and dad, or at least typically it is. And so beginning a relationship with mom and dad, it has to start there, because the kid and the individual is going to go through hard times when they're here, and mom and dad better have your back when they're going through it. And I think having an equal partnership with mom and dad as you do the young man is at the end of the day, it's a family-oriented deal, and that's just how we choose to do business.
I was talking with Galen Wednesday night after the game, and he said the sales pitch to him when he was being recruited was the vision. Y'all didn't have a lot else to sell.
Nothing else.
Is that still the whole sales pitch? Has it changed with a new league, a new building, a new facility, your new role?
Yes. I mean, the short answer is yes.
That is a shorter answer.
And one of the shifts we've had to make in recruiting is, we had such a chip on our shoulder when we first started here about doing things that people didn't think we could do. And we had this message, we had a message, or we had a wrapping paper that that was about what can we all do together. There's not a single high school kid in this city, this state, whatever, that remembers us being bad. There's not one single prospect that has ever heard of offense for doing it. And so for us, it's understanding, and because we've been here now 10 years, it's understanding that nobody remembers us being bad. People, prospects, and they only remember us being successful. And so our name opens up some more doors, carries a little bit more weight. Don't carry yourself like we were in 2015. Yes, the vision is the most important thing, but it's, look, this is what we've done. It's now proof of concept, not take a chance on us.
These kids don't remember a time when you didn't win an NCAA tournament game that year, right?
There's not
every year of their.
And we talk about this with our students, our student body and our population about coming to games. But we've now had how many consecutive classes of U of H graduates that their 4 years was 4 NCAA tournament years. That their 4 years was now, we just had our first graduating U of H class in 4 years. That all 4 years they were in school, we went to a Sweet 16. They don't remember us. They don't remember a time that we weren't a titan in college basketball. So don't sell ourselves short either. There's a fine line between having humility, but also speaking about what we've done.
Was that a process to get
Yes.
your thinking?
It is an ongoing process. Is that it's like, well, you develop a relationship with a young person, and you're going through the recruitment, and all of a sudden another big school jumps in, or I should say a big school jumps in, and I know the feeling that used to create within inside me, but then I start looking around and think, well, they're not better than us, and that prospect doesn't think so, and that's maybe the hardest part is I think of this school as super respected and an awesome brand and a big time name, blah blah blah, but the prospect still thinks that we're a bigger brand. They still think that we have more to offer. And understanding, don't get on the defensive. Just recruit from the strength of power and keep trusting your ability to create and build meaningful relationships. That's hard. That's been a bigger challenge than I would have thought.
Last thing, scouting opponents.
Mm-hmm.
How many days or games ahead do you get your next scout? Or do you start on that?
So, coach at the outset of the year, divvies out scouting assignments, as soon as one scout ends, the next one begins. So I had the championship game in Charleston. I had Xavier, then I had A&M. And so when one ends, the next one begins. And
so you're looking at A&M now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's something, one of the things about this, when you're scouting an opponent, it's it's the program, it's the coach, and then it's the individuals, and especially when you're looking at the really, really good programs, is there are so many program idiosyncrasies that lead you to where you want to be. What's their DNA? What's their identity? How do they choose to peel the orange? And that eventually kind of leads you to building a frame from which you're going to present it to the team, and then present it to coach, and then with coach and the other staff members. I think that's what has made us so dynamic in our prep. Is I really trust Casey Beard, I trust Quanz White, I trust Hollis Price, I trust Anthony Goldwire. We're all connected, and all of us. Sometimes when you're 2 weeks in, you're too close to the project. A fresh set of eyes recognizes things that is extremely pertinent to winning. And the two guys that are outstanding is Hollis Price and Anthony Goldwire. There's no ego with them. They have an awesome feel for our players, and so they point out things or they communicate things that will help us be able to present something that is digestible for our guys. They played at a crazy high level. They were monster players. They're the best at understanding, look, that's not important. I was not a very good player. And so scouting reports, I needed every morsel of information. They weren't. They were elite of the elite. And so their perspective is incredibly valuable in preparing for scouting reports. The thing about scouting is you get so worried about stuff sometimes that doesn't matter. And then you get to where you're trying to solve every problem, and it's impossible.
It's not necessary, right?
Yeah, and the X factors are guys. You know,
They solve problems.
they solve problems. You know, or you watch a team on tape that really thrives in a certain area against a particular team. They're not going to thrive in that area against us. But you can't convince your eyes otherwise. You know, and that's where the other staff members are awesome. You know, and I try to provide that for them. It's just a fresh set of eyes, and you don't want to be too overbearing, you know, because they put so much effort. Everybody, Casey and Qantas, Hollis, Goldie, when it's their time, they do such a great job of scouting with their heart and their head. And that I don't want to come in, and, you know, but it's just what's made us really good is having a whole staff approach to it.